Hello and welcome to this video. In this video I've got a really special one because I've seen the future of QuickBooks Online. Hello, my name is Aaron Patrick. I'm a chartered accountant, a certified UK trainer with fancy new logo, that QuickBooks. Now in this video, I have some brilliant train you guys. So if you ever need to let me come in and... So one of the things I offer through this channel is the opportunity to train you guys. So if ever you need someone to come in and show you how the ropes work on QuickBooks Online, I'm always available. And the way I do it is that I set up a remote call, we Teams in, we talk to each other, we figure out what we want to do, and then most of the time we show your screen so that we can give you guidance and just go through the training process that way. Now, in this particular way of doing it, when I shared screen, the first thing I said to myself was, oh, are they even on QuickBooks Online? I mean, aesthetically, it looks very, very similar to QuickBooks Online, but I was a little bit confused about what was going on. So let's have a first look of what I was shown when I came in to this particular meeting. Okay, so here's a screen capture of actually what I was looking at the time. As you can probably see, it looks a little bit jarring. It's not like our standard QuickBooks Online database. You see, what we've got is some really jarring elements. So for example, this whole area here is completely different to what we're used to. We're not used to this sort of area, are we? You've also got this new section here where you've got that main kind of left navigation panel that we're used to, and then next to it is all of these sub elements that we can bring out, and it almost kind of makes a two-tier left navigation panel. Now I actually really like that two-tier approach, but what got me straight away is that things have been moved around. Stuff isn't in the place that we were expecting to see. You see, that new left-hand panel is definitely going to be something to get used to, but didn't seem as intuitive as it was before. So maybe because being a more experienced user, I was expecting things in different places. And it'd be interesting to see if someone brand new to the system would be able to kind of get their head around it more. But curiously, the person I was training at this point, they'd never seen QuickBooks before. And in fact, for them, they were even more confused as to why I didn't know where certain elements were. And they didn't seem to feel like they were on top of, well, they expect it to be here, there, and everywhere else. But that may not be the best indication that this was working for. But let's have a look and see exactly what's changed. So as you can see now, that left-hand navigation looking like this. You've got your Get Things Done tab just here. So in there, that's where it's going to give you that nice little element where you can see what's going on, what's moving around, and everything else. Now, this might only be for an advanced version of QuickBooks. In the UK, we don't have advanced yet, but that Get Things Done tab is actually really, really useful, and it gives us an opportunity to see that nice little panel of what's actually happening and everything else that goes with it. We've also got the business overview section just here. That's where things like reporting requirements are. So we're used to our reports to be down the bottom here somewhere, but actually no, it's now down in that, it's now above that, it's in the top area, making reporting much more of a forefront of it. You also have your dashboard screens, your overview screens, them sort of things coming in as well. So it is actually really quite useful to have that there. Banking. Now this answers a couple of questions that we kind of had when in our last podcast when we were talking about how we felt it was going to be. Now, banking to me originally felt like I was going to be going there to do my banking that I would do normally in QuickBooks Online. So I'd go in and look at my transactions, I'd make sure everything's working. In this though, in the new update, banking is actually doing banking in QuickBooks. So using that QuickBooks Bank, that's going to be the area where you can go in and have a look at the banking, have a look at it in a bit more detail, make transfers, pay money, look and see what your balances are, open up different spaces, them sort of things. It's all going to be done in this new banking area. So completely jarring, completely different to what we're probably used to, which will be interesting to see. Get paid and pay, that's where your vendors and your customers, so your customers and your suppliers are going to be within QuickBooks Online. So in there, you can go and see those two different ones. And because it's now going to be more interlinked with the bank, there's an opportunity to request payment, send money, them sort of things as well from that area. So they've definitely updated it completely. Payroll seems exactly the same as normal. Taxes and apps are the same, But the one I really want to talk about is this live bookkeeping. Because believe it or not, live bookkeeping is now where your banking area is going to be. And that, I genuinely struggle to get my head around that one. Like, live bookkeeping, because live bookkeeping is another feature that QuickBooks has where they can allow you to have someone to do the bookkeeping for you. So it's almost kind of pushing you down the fact that you have to pay for that feature. The first time I went in there, I was almost feeling like I was about to, my client was about to be charged for going into that area, and all they really wanted to do was update their bank and push it through from there. So as you can see, there's some big changes coming our way. Now, at the moment, we're just looking at aesthetic differences here. The fact that, we used to have reports down the bottom, now that the top and the bit that, the changes that are coming through from there. This next change, though, is the one that was so jarring to me. And again, I do feel like maybe I'm a little bit biased because I was so used to the old way. So maybe it's something I need to get used to. But we're about to look at the banking section and how the banking section now looks. And I'm scared. I'm scared for the future of what actually it means, because I feel like we're trying to emulate maybe other softwares, and we're trying to bring in what other softwares do. And I'm not sure necessarily that that's the right stage that QuickBooks should be at. But let's have a look and let's see what your opinion is going to be. So here I am looking a little bit more in detail at my banking area. So the new section that's here, we've got this live bookkeeping area that includes our transactions and live bookkeeping. Remember, live bookkeeping is that paid for service, but it's a transaction area that we're normally used to. Our manage now, chart of accounts is appearing here. Tags is more prominent, I like that, that's good. We want to be getting more involved with the tags, and rules has its own section as well. Notice though, the receipt section's kind of missing from this middle section, which is a bit jarring to me, and that new app section that's included in the American version's gone as well. But what's interesting though, when we look at it from here, is that they're still in the transaction area, which used to be the banking area. Now, you still have your experts as well. You've got your My Accountant, you've got a reconcile section. I'm not sure why reconciles under experts. That almost indicates that clients shouldn't be reconciling, they should be leaving it to the experts to do, which we don't want to happen. We want our clients to be reconciling on a normal basis. Now we're going to look at that transaction there in a little bit more detail, and this is where I got a little bit even more scared going forward. So now what we're going to look at is the new banking area. So not the banking area where you get to do banking, but the banking area we're used to. Now it's called the transaction area or live bookkeeping area, whatever they want to call it. And if you think about QuickBooks Now, this is the bit you spend the most amount of time in. Well, let's have a look and see what it looks like now. So in this screen here, I've had to just retract anything that's kind of client sensitive, but we're now in that new area. So at the top here, hopefully you can kind of see where we're going with this one. We've got our banking, our app, and our receipts area, as we expect to see. But now they've moved the all sales and expenses to here, away from the vendor area, which I assume is so you can quickly get into those ones, make some adjustments if you need to. Everything else seems pretty much the same. You've got the link account here, you've got the update area here, we've got our bank tiles just here and here, so they're all exactly the same. The biggest thing that's missing though is that next area. But the jarring bit that's really missing here is this section. If you remember, you used to have 3 different areas. There, you would have the for review section, the categorized section, and the excluded section. Have a look at QuickBooks Now. In fact, I'll put it up on screen. We're so used to this area here, aren't we? The for review, the categorized and excluded. That's so important to us. That's how we understand QuickBooks. But now that area is gone, and it's been replaced with this new view where we have review and not review items all here. We have this filter here to jump between unreviewed and reviewed, and we're losing that item. So this list will always just maintain your banking list. You're always going to see that from every item you've gone in there. It's just you're going to have a difference between if it's been reviewed and been put onto QuickBooks or if it's left as unreviewed like these ones. Now, I'm not necessarily saying I don't like that approach, and in fact, if you look at some of the other software providers out there, very, very similar. And actually it creates quite a nice little uniform approach when you look at the mobile app or the iPad app as well. So I get the benefits of having this way, and for someone completely new to QuickBooks, being able to see that view of your actual bank statement in order could be an absolute game changer, because that's going to give them confidence. They can see those transactions going in and out. They don't have to jump between two different tabs. One of the biggest learning points that we have to put out to people who are first seeing QuickBooks Online is that idea that you've got to add that transaction to QuickBooks Online. My only criticism is that this is completely jarring to what we're used to working with QuickBooks. The experts are the people who've been using it for years and years and years. I get the approach. I get the approach, but because I've not had time to play around with it, I've literally been watching someone else's screen, I'm not sure I'm completely convinced that that's the approach that I would like to see. Now from this screen, if we were to go in and we were to click into maybe one of these items here and bring it up, we get exactly the same functionality we're used to. So it's going to expand it forward, give us a chance to do what we need to do with it, and confirm it. And really these items here is review and confirm. You can go through and put them in. We still have our batch selection option there, so that's perfect. We still have our filtering system just here, so we can go through and just look at the confirm matches, the add missing info emphasis, and it goes from there. And if I was to put my tinfoil hat on, the reason I think that we're going down this route is because the QuickBooks Self-Employed application doesn't seem like it's got much of a lifespan left of it. It's kind of merging that way of doing things, the idea that it's one long banking screen, and then it gives us an opportunity to kind of merge the two products together without them being completely different. And I think I see that one. I think I see what's happening there is the fact that we're having the best of what probably QuickBooks Self-Employed offers, which is the simplicity, the not having to understand the full review and categorize section, because that one can be really jarring for people when they're first learning it. But it does give you the option here to kind of merge it into a more seamless product so that they are very, very similar to one another. Banking rules, all that sort of stuff is still exactly the same here, so that's great to see. Being in the American version, we have this fancy app transaction. Looking forward to seeing that in the UK product hopefully very soon. And I suppose the biggest change we've got to do is, instead of having that table format of having different sections, we've just got to get used to switching between there using unreviewed and reviewed. And there will also be an option for all. And I think it's that all section that really makes it powerful. That's the section where you're going to be able to go, oh, okay, I can see my banking transactions in a format that I'm used to without having to jump in and out. And maybe, just maybe, that's a justification for why reconciling is going to be in the quote unquote expert area for all your experts, because we should be able to have more confidence in our figures here when they're coming through. And then there's that one major difference that really doesn't sit with me, but I kind of get it. Let's have a look. Look closely at this area here and think to yourself, what are we missing? Well, if I skip back to the old screen and I look at this area here and back to the new one and then back to the old one and back to the new one, you'll notice straight away that we've lost the in QuickBooks balance. This balance over here will be your bank balance, and the balance that's missing is the in QuickBooks balance. Now again, we've not had a chance to play around with this, but our hope and our pray is that going forward we can't have a mismatch between the two. I'm dubious of how that works, and I've used other solutions out there. So if you look at how Xero, how Free Agent, how them ones are utilising the way that they're adapting and bringing in their banking transactions, they make it very, very, very difficult for you to ever post anything or put anything in the wrong place. So for them, they don't need that in Xero or in their application versus with the bank one. QuickBooks has always gave you that flexibility there of being able to add many transactions and add things in and kind of utilize this page, sometimes for the detriment of being able to add things it shouldn't do, the way it handled transfers originally, etc. And what we've got here now is we've got kind of that mismatch of, well, how does a client be able to expect, how does that end user be able to expect to understand that their bank is balanced or not? We've kind of moved reconciliation into a weird place. We've taken away the in QuickBooks figure. And again, until I've played around with this, that scares me. That scares me a lot. already how we are now, we're already seeing that a lot of, files out there are not correct, where we've got an in QuickBooks figure and a bank figure. And it was very difficult for most users to kind of get their grips around why and how and everything else. But taking that away from them just makes them, or the danger is that they think everything's fine when there could be an underlying issue there. So to me, this is the scariest bit. Losing that in QuickBooks figure, not knowing, not understanding how that could be looking at, really scares me. I think from a training point of view and understanding and getting people to understand QuickBooks Online, I think this new format is lovely. Again, I'll use that term jarring because for anyone who's kind of used to the old one and more experienced in the old one, has been kind of, we're expecting to see this view and not this view, then yeah, I can kind of see how confusing that could be. But ultimately, I feel like this new view is going to be polarizing, to say the least. And there we have it. Again, I don't want to be negative on this, and I'd love to hear your comments below. Let me know, do you think this is a positive move or a negative move? For me, anything that takes away that confusing factor. And for me as a trainer, as a certified trainer, one of the things we emphasize on and we need to kind of make sure everyone walks away from that training session knowing is that whole idea of categorize versus review. As a certified trainer, and when I'm training people to use QuickBooks Online, one of the main focuses I always put on is that for review versus categorize, and people understanding that if it's in for review, that means that they've got to move it to the categorized area for it to be in QuickBooks Online. I love the fact that this new way of doing it means that we don't need to do the for review to categorize jump. That's a big positive. And I do think that someone who's going to be using that software for the first time is going to be in a better position. And I think for majority of the people, once you've kind of got over that idea of, and you're out of your comfort zone and you don't have to worry so much about the for review and categorizing, you got used to the new format, I think for a lot of people, this is going to be a big, big, big bonus. And I think that's going to help people going forward. My big worry though is getting rid of the in QuickBooks versus bank balance. How do we tell that end user that their bank isn't balanced and there could be something majorly wrong? How many times has people like myself who's been training or reviewing files or looking at clients' files, open it up and notice straight away that the bank balance and the in QuickBooks balance isn't the same, and straight away have to worry about what's going on? That's my concern. That's my worry. I like the move. I like to see it being more of a QuickBooks self-employed kind of feel to it, and I think that's going to help people. And I think one of the things that we have at the problem is that one of the things that's difficult at the moment is convincing someone to go from QuickBooks Self-Employed to QuickBooks Online. QuickBooks Online is by far a better product, and for some situations, I've got clients who should never, ever, ever have been on QuickBooks Self-Employed in the first place, but they just like that simplicity. They get to grips of it. It's just showing them their bank transactions and they're explaining what those bank transactions are. To them, that's normal. That feels intuitive. That is a better way to deal with your bank account. And when you try and move them from that comfort of just going through their bank transactions and dealing with them to what we've got now, where it's well, you're moving it into this part and then to this part, and if it's in this part, it means this, and if it's in that part, it means this. I completely get why people get confused. So simplifying it and bringing it in is a wonderful, wonderful area. But we've got to be careful that we don't oversimplify it to the point where people don't understand that there's a glaring issue and a glaring problem. And to me, that's the future that scares me the most. And that's the bit where I'm hoping there's ways in which we can solve that and make that more user-friendly going forward. So that's the future. We like it or not, I can't see that not being the future. I feel like that's going to appear at some point. But again, let me know below, what do you think? And when do you think this will arrive? We don't know from a UK point of view what it's going to be arriving at. And as I go through some of my American clients, they're also still on those old versions. And some of my Canadian clients, they're still on the old version. So I've not found anyone with a live active file that I actually have access to where I can play around with this. All I've got is a couple of clients who's reached out to me where we're just using that share screen, and for whatever reason, they're on that new version. And my other big problem is from a training point of view, if there's going to be 2 versions of QuickBooks for any amount of time, that's going to be really, really difficult for us to look at. But there we have it. That's my take on QuickBooks Online's new future. I've had a peek, I've had a look at it, and I'm skeptical, but also excited. But what about you? Again, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you think of it. This is something I think is going to be really exciting going forward. A big change in the way that QuickBooks is going. We've been kind of almost a little bit critical. There's not been any major enhancements, but this one is an absolute game changer. And if I take my Boffix hat on and I talk about my Boffix clients, well, this is a way where I think that small businesses are definitely going to be in a position where they're going to be able to thrive and not just survive, because they're going to have that option to be able to look into it and go through a little bit more detail. My name's been Aaron Patrick. I'm really excited about the next future. If you need to see anything more about QuickBooks Online, make sure you subscribe to this channel. As soon as I get my hands on some of these updates, I will be showing every little element of it. I'm going to be updating all my training portfolios. I'm going to make sure everything's trained in the new way, and I'm really excited about getting that off the ground. I would love you to join me on this journey. Please use the subscribe options. Please share around to people and everything else. It really does help a channel like myself. And yeah, I looked into the future and I'm scared. But come along with me. Make sure we fight that scariness together. And you never know, maybe you guys can convince me that this is positive completely for everyone at stake. My name's been Aaron Patrick. Again, it's been a pleasure to do this video for you, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye for now. I told him I can be a fighter if you want. I'll be there to catch you if you fall. I can make it brighter when it's dark, when it's dark. I told him I would do it all for you, and I know you do it for me too. I can be a fighter if you want, if you want. I can be a fighter. I can be a fighter if you want. I can be a fighter if you want. All the way that I feel, yeah, I know that it's real, 'cause I can get him out of my head. I don't care what we do, everything's feeling new. Even if we stay in bed, my heart is saying yeah, 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 yeah. You know I want him, nah, 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 nah. My heart is saying yeah, 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 yeah. Hello and thank you for watching that video. What you may not know is this channel that you've watched this video from is part of a wider group. That wider group is called Apple Core Production, and the 3 channels that we have involved are as follows: Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks Chat, Boffix Tax Tip. Finally, we have Apple Core Live and Geeky. All the links and everything are down below in the description, but it really means a lot to us if you can go and give a like to the other channels as well.